Alright my dudes, we had to wait a long ass time, but it looks like we've made it. We actually lived long enough to see the release of a TimeSplitters remake. About damn time, right? Now I say that as if I've been some hardcore TimeSplitters fan since I was a kid. Actually, not really. I never even had a console, so I only heard about the series from other review channels, but it always looked pretty damn promising. Nowadays there are all sorts of emulators for all consoles and other utilities as well that can ease the suffering of my less than controller savvy hands by providing a somewhat decent mouse and keyboard control, in most cases at least. Yeah, one day I'll make you work, you son of a bitch. But anyways, let me talk about my experience with the TimeSplitter games and let's just breeze through the first one, shall we? The series kicked off in the year 2000 as a PlayStation 2 launch title. It was developed by Free Radical Design, the founders split off from Rare, the studio that made legendary genre-defining console FPS games like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Both of them were great single-player titles, but TimeSplitters itself could be described more like a kinda cartoony, wacky Unreal Tournament clone. Technically there is a story mode, but calling it that is already being too generous. The levels are pretty small and all you really do is shoot your way through enemies, run to the far end of the map, grab an item, then haul it back to the starting point. Except on your way back these weird zombie-like TimeSplitters just randomly spawn in. That's it. The main appeal of the game was obviously the arcade mode, which like I said is straight up Unreal Tournament. You can play solo or team deathmatch, Capture the Flag is replaced with Capture the Bag, and there are a bunch of extra arcade style modes on top of that. The only real sense of progression comes from unlocking new characters and maps through the story mode. To be honest, I don't really want to get deeper into this. Let me just say that I totally get why this was such a hit back in the day. It was probably a lot of fun on console, but this borderline multiplayer only vibe is definitely not for me. The so-called story mode is also something I cannot really appreciate, and honestly the other two games are what I actually care about. This one's just here for context. But of course, if someone really wants to play it on PC, there's a way to get it running with PCSX2 and a mouse injector, but honestly, don't bother with it, it's not worth it. TimeSplitters 2 was released in 2002, still as a console-exclusive title, but this time I didn't have to mess around with emulators. The thing is, in 2009, Free Radical Design, along with the rights of the TimeSplitters franchise, had been acquired by Crytek, and the team itself became part of Crytek's UK branch. Now this is where things get a bit weird. There was this game called Homefront, basically a Modern Warfare 2 at home with North Koreans instead of Russians. Its sequel, Homefront: The Revolution, was being developed by Crytek, but around 2014 they started running into serious financial troubles, so they sold the publishing rights to Deep Silver, and eventually Crytek UK, including the former Free Radical guys, ended up there as well. This is the reason why you could find an Easter egg arcade game in Homefront Revolution, where you can play the first two levels of TimeSplitters 2 with modern resolution, HD textures, and with mouse and keyboard controls on PC. Turns out it wasn't only those two levels, the entire game was in there, you just needed different codes to access the rest. And of course, some absolute mad lads went in, reverse engineered the whole thing into a standalone version, and that is what we know now as TimeSplitters 2 Redux. Same modern visuals, same improved controls. God bless these people, seriously. Or not? I don't know, let's find out. So this time we actually have something that resembles a campaign. There's a proper main character too, his name is Cortez and he looks like a roided out Mexican cosplaying Vin Diesel from the Chronicles of Riddick. The TimeSplitters attack our base and steal the time crystals, the ones we collected in the first game, and our job is to get them back, hopping across time and space again. We have 10 separate levels, all set in different time periods and locations. Every time he jumps through a time portal, Cortez takes on a different identity. For example, the first level drops you into Siberia in 1990, where Cortez turns into a female spy, and I'm not kidding, this opening level is an absolute masterpiece, definitely the best one in the whole game. And why is that, you might ask? Because this level just screams GoldenEye, or more like No One Lives Forever. You can sneak around, perform stealthy kills, avoid cameras. Even the alarm sound is basically straight out of Null.
Foreign bodies detected.
Disabling cameras isn't just press the button and done either. You can actually look through them, control them, turn them off individually, or even use turret cameras to shoot enemies. And finally, this time we've got actual objectives along with optional secondary ones. I have no clue what you get for completing those, but at least there's stuff to do. I highly recommend checking the objectives right at the start of each level because the game won't guide you at all. You only get the message once you've completed something, so you could easily end up like me, clearing the entire map, only to realize I forgot to sabotage the comms dish at the very beginning. Yeah, great. The secondary objective here is like setting fire to these filing cabinets with the flamethrower, or timed mines because it's a stealth mission, right? Of course, it's not an ordinary base, there will be zombies, you have to find a floppy disk, activate shit, destroy a biohazard container, shoot down a helicopter on the top of the dam using an AA gun, yeah, blow up the satellite dish, and only then can you go to the exit teleport. Wow, there was actual gameplay this time, not just running back and forth. Thank fuck the gameplay also feels great, the aiming is perfect, headshots work as intended, enemies stagger when shot, and if they don't die immediately, they'll limp around in pain. Weapons match the time periods pretty well. Of course, there will be a few guns that appear more than once, but most of the arsenal are unique boomsticks. The small navigator gadget will always be available. It shows the enemies, objectives, or camera view cones. Some weapons have a secondary fire mode, which can be the usual grenade launcher for the AK or the plasma gun. Mounted guns can shoot homing rockets. But what's crazy is that by reloading the navigator, you can play 3 different minigames. A surprisingly smooth Snake copy, a racing game, if we can call it that, and a prehistoric version of Mars Taxi, where you have to land your blue triangle very carefully. Wait, do you guys even know Mars Taxi? The presence of NPCs are far more organic and authentic than in the previous game. It doesn't feel random at all. Sometimes there are enemies that just spawn in out of nowhere, but there's always context to it. Like in the year 2238, teleporting aliens are nothing to be surprised by, but you won't see anything like this in the Western level. Save for the TimeSplitters, but they've always been like this. There are some minor technical annoyances, of course. First off, finishing a level doesn't take you to the next one automatically. Nope, you have to go back to the level select screen every single time and you have to select the next mission manually. By the way, all levels are unlocked from the start, so there's like zero sense of progression. But what's worse, if you die or fail a mission somehow, it's the same deal. Back to the menu, restart it manually. I get it, it's a console-style system with no checkpoints, but come on, if it's supposed to be Redux, how about putting a restart level button there? Another pet peeve of mine is the lack of reload animations. I don't know, it always just feels lazy to me. And once again, it's a PC port. Why can't I use the number keys to select between weapons? Or at least a weapon menu like in Half-Life, so I don't have to blindly scroll through every item I have on me during a firefight. It's very frustrating. Another thing that can be misleading is that boss life bars seemingly never decrease. Which they do in fact, but it's not easy to see. Not a big deal though, I mean, it's not like bosses need too much punishment before they die. But okay, petty grievances aside, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it anymore. I'm pissed and somewhat disappointed in this game. The first level was so well put together, it made me believe that the whole game will be something like that. But it turns out, as you slowly progress in the story mode, TimeSplitters 2 starts to gradually insert its dick in your rectum. The second level is a classic 1930s Chicago mobster setting. You got a small city section that you have to explore, shoot up a bar, blow up a safe in a hotel, and shoot whiskey barrels in a brewery. It's still fine, I think. The next one is in the late 1800s, in and near Notre Dame. It's a dungeon level with zombies, cultists, shotguns, damsels in distress, and of course Quasimodo the Hunchback as a teammate at the end. The game slowly starts showing teeth here, for if any of the hostages die, you have to restart the level. Manually, as we know it, which is quite cute, knowing zombies can sometimes spawn directly in front of the chained up women, or if you're not fast enough, they will be killed off screen. The last hostage is hanging from a rope, but don't be tempted to just simply shoot the rope, like me, no. You'll need to find another rope to let her down from there, because of course you do. The first future level looks quite fun in its 1950s retrofuturism style, where you're in the middle of a civil war between 2 alien races. Here you can shoot rockets at bees, shoot down UFOs with a laser cannon, shoot aliens like it's D-Day again. Awful lot of shooting here. It's indeed a faster paced level, until it's not, because you can't find this exact spot where you can leave the spaceship. it took me some time, okay? The Wild West mission is surprisingly more challenging than most others, but it definitely has a vibe. Here you have to break a female sheriff out of prison, you have to make a gunpowder trail from the TNT card, but to ignite it, it's not enough to shoot at it, you need to shoot down this lantern. As far as I know, there are no health pickups on this level, only armor, and the enemies are quite accurate and aggressive even on normal difficulties, so much so that the TimeSplitters at the end honestly pale in comparison with these cowboys and bandits. And of course there's the jungle level where you play as Captain Ash, shooting crossbow bolts at locals and monkeys alike. The bees here are definitely one of the most annoying enemies in the game. You can only get rid of them by setting their hive on fire, just like it's the same tactic to use against these walking trees. You can make fire arrows at burning torches. 4 years before Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, this was quite a feature. But you better watch out for burning enemies, because if they touch you, you will burn indefinitely. That is, unless you find a body of water, but those are pretty scarce around here. This level also features some puzzles and hidden switches, which are cool, but I'm sad to say this is the last half-decent level in this game. Because there's this stealthy cyberpunk mission which is frustrating as fuck, and it's nothing but trial and error. In the first half of the level you have to follow this gang member, unnoticed by her, by cameras, and by police patrols. You can use your navigator and the whole thing is quite linear, as in there's but one way you can do things, but if you do anything differently, you'll most likely have to restart from the beginning, manually. I have failed so many times here, I had to come up with ways to save time, so what I usually did, I jumped down to the left at the start and I was waiting for the target behind this pillar. Then in the sewers, there's this soft time limit after which the laser gate closes, and which I didn't know about, so once more I had to restart it, manually. After several tries I learned her route, went way ahead and hid under this ramp, but for some reason she always noticed me. Another several attempts later I could finally get into the gang hideout, found a weapon and had to take a photo of a captured TimeSplitter where the graphics shed itself. Yeah guys, this is the Redux version. Thankfully the level ends on a more enjoyable note, a street war with respawning enemies until you find the exit teleport. Near the end of the game there's another frustrating level with huge vibes, but like I say, it's frustrating. This time is the 60s, you take control of the local Austin Powers wannabe spy Harry Tipper in an attempt to defuse ticking atomic bombs with the help of friendly scientists, all within a strict time limit of course.
2, 1,
Now is it blue over red or...
Finding the bombs is one thing, to not fucking die is another, but figuring out that you're supposed to use the fire extinguisher to douse the flames here, I mean, okay, this is basic logic, but the fact that you have to press the use key to pick up the extinguisher, you know, unlike any of the other weapons or items in the game that you can just pick up by walking over them, yeah. One of the bombs have to be disposed using a magnetic crane, but one false move and you gotta start all over. Seriously, dying in the classical bad guys shot me the hell way doesn't even seem that much of a difficulty anymore, since there are medkits and armors all over the place, but the enemies shoot way better than before, so usually it's better to take it slow. But I did tell you there's a time limit, right? All in all, this level is also a huge trial and error bullshit. You gotta learn where the bombs and scientists are, when will enemies jump out from containers and ambush you, and where are the automatic minigun turrets. Bon appetit! The second to last level is set in a robot factory. The visuals and environment are pretty decent. You will fight battle droids of all sorts, you'll find a wicked plasma gun, an electro welder and a chargeable laser gun. It's a fair challenge and it's not a short one either. The main objective is overcharging these electric thingamajigs, but the last one I found is only accessible by controlling small robot turrets on rails. I finally found out that I'm supposed to shoot these clamps to get rid of the shielding, and the surging electricity will do the job for me. But the game crashed on me. And then a second time, it also crashed on me. Reaching this part takes about 10 minutes, so I tried to make my job as easy as possible by using the built-in God mode cheat, but it crashed on me the third time as well. I mean, since all levels are accessible by default, there was no sense in wasting more time. Let's see the final level, which, let me just say, it's the biggest trial and error fuckery. The last level is set in the in-game present, the TimeSplitters attack once more, our friend is killed, and it's time to run around in identical looking corridors looking for 3 consoles to activate, but you gotta pick up the time crystals as well. And then starts a self-destruction timer with 5 something minutes. I was still running around trying to find that one exit that I need, Then when I got on the bridge, I was blasting my weight forward, a minigun pumped my mouth full of bullets, while timefuckers of all shapes and sizes spawned in. Then here's the new objective. Shoot down the timefuckers' spaceships. Where? And with what? My dick? I reckon I don't have to do it from the inside, but then how? Well, the answer is this door here. This ain't a closed one, no. You have to open it with the use key. This seems to be an airlock, and it is common knowledge that airlock doors must be opened manually, unlike, each and every door on this goat fuck of a level. So this being an airlock, and this is raw outer space, it's quite reasonable that Cortez is slowly dying outside, just like me on the inside when I look at how much time I wasted on this, and this pretty yet moderately annoying glitch. After destroying the ships, I had like half a minute left, but they shot me to hell anyway, so let's try this again. The second time I already knew where to go and what to do, so it's at least that. At the start of the bridge to the left, there are some spacesuits that will extend my life expectancy, as in I won't lose health while gunning down the enemy ships. Finally, after this, I found a minigun that looks good, feels good, but eventually I ended up in this room where, once again, I have zero fucking clues what I'm supposed to do. I can only press this button, but nothing happens. I don't know, maybe I have to jump down here. I suppose not. Alright, you know what? Fuck this level and its cryptic bullshit. I don't care how the game ends. I really lost all interest at this point. You know what this game reminded me of? Codename Eagle. Maybe with a bit better gameplay and no vehicles to drive, but anyways. TimeSplitters 2 had some great ideas, some neat levels, especially the first one, but mostly it's just an annoying streak of trial and error parts, and you won't figure it out on the first try. The worst thing about games like this is that they kinda sabotage themselves. During the first 5 tries you learn every single step, and on the 6th try you can breeze through the level, but the whole vibe is fucked already and it's anything but fun and exciting this way. I'm not saying it should be downright easy. It could be difficult, but like in a sensible way. On the positive side, this Redux version is easy to work with, the aiming is perfect, graphic looks great. In general, the game has its own style, cutscenes are amazing, it's just like watching an animated movie, the sounds and music are also fine, so as far as appearances go, this game slaps, but still. I'm pretty sure for most of you this sounds like blasphemy or a stab right in the childhood, but in my humble opinion, TimeSplitters 2 falls flat crazy fast after an incredibly strong start, and all in all, it wasn't a nice experience. It has its moments, there's sure a great deal of variety in levels and weapons, but when it comes down to the gameplay itself, it was a mostly frustrating and not a very good game, I'm sorry. To wrap it up in a Gordon Ramsay fashion, TimeSplitters, more like Tom Steelers, because it promised me a good time, instead all it did was waste mine. But wait, there's more, because beside the story mode, there's the arcade and challenge modes as well. To be completely honest, the last 2 levels made me rage quit and rage uninstall the whole thing, but I wanted to cover everything here, so yes, I did install it again, and let's see what I've missed. In arcade mode there are 3 leagues, all of which consist of, well, let's say levels. Different environments and characters, but this is still nothing more than an Unreal Tournament deathmatch. In challenge mode you will find various, challenges. Here we have things like breaking windows with a grenade launcher, collect giant bananas while running super fast, shoot melons from the hands of monkeys with a sniper rifle, another sentence I never thought I would say out loud, and since the Cyberpunk stealth level was so much fun, here we have 3 more such levels. They're not my favorite. And the cherry on top, for those who thought the story mode of the first game was so exhilarating, there are 3 levels of this sort, following the good old go in, pick up stuff and get out concept. As a reminder, I have not enjoyed the original. Just saying. To be fair, no one can complain about the lack of content in this game, but I'm a weirdo, I wanted to play this for the story mode and, well, we all know how that turned out. But I'm gonna be real with you now, if the third game wasn't what it is, I'd never have made a video about the series. I totally get if some of you have lost faith after seeing the first 2 entries, but don't give up just yet. On their 3rd try, the developers finally created their magnum opus, the game that redefined TimeSplitters. TimeSplitters Future Perfect dropped in 2005, and what you're seeing here is the GameCube version running on Dolphin with a mouse injector so the aiming doesn't feel like complete ass. The ROM I'm using even shows the button prompts. No idea if I had to hack it in or if it came like that, but honestly, it's super helpful. The story picks up right after the second game ended, which, yeah, I still don't know how that ended because that final level basically fried my brain, but I have reason to believe that we grabbed all the time crystals since Cortez is flying back to base with all the time crystals, only before things go to hell and he has to crash land. I know, after the first two games hearing story might sound like a joke to you, but don't worry, sure it took them several tries, but Free Radical Design finally realized that making a proper coherent campaign is not only possible but is actually a damn good idea. This time the levels are still completely linear, but also in a sense that you almost never have to backtrack and there's always something happening. Only 2 levels are set in the in-game present now. As usual, all others take place in various past and future times. Most of the levels mean brand new environments, such as a new alternative World War II island, a lovely train level, or a futuristic office building and research center. However, some levels seem to recycle previous places or at least ideas. The very first level shows similarities to the previous Alien Civil War level. In the 60s, our partner will be none other than Harry Tipper. The future Robot War levels are not entirely new either, and the Zombie Mansion feels much like the Notre Dame level. But you know what? This time it works, because these levels are way longer and actually... Hold on. They're actually fun to play. Enemy variety isn't anything mind-blowing, but the gunplay, oh boy. Weapons feel great, some of them even have akimbo versions, and a lot of them come with alt-fire modes, which sometimes can be quite unique or surprising. On the World War levels you've got Lugers, a bolt-action sniper, even some weird SMG that can shoot rockets. In modern settings you can slap a suppressor and a scope on your pistol, you can whack zombies with a baseball bat, a revolver, or even a harpoon gun, and in the future you've got this electric pistol that highlights cameras and turrets, ridiculously fast-firing machine guns, a dart gun that straight up obliterates mutants in one shot, and in the in-game present you'll get stuff like a shielded sniper, a gorgeous rocket launcher, a minigun, and that electric welder thingy is here too. And yes, finally, reload animations. Every weapon has them and most of them look good. Some of them look damn fucking good. You also got grenades, from basic ones to these time grenades that are both flashy and actually useful. The emulator shits itself a bit during explosions or plasma effects, but nothing too bad. Supposedly newer versions of the Dolphin emulator fix this issue, but I stuck with what works with the mouse injector because having more than 8 axes is somewhat of a blessing. The scanner gadget is back as well and it looks amazing. This time it's built into this arm-mounted gravity gun gadget. I mean, of course, 1 year after Half-Life 2 they just had to put one in here too. They just had to. To be fair, it's more for puzzles than for combat, like hitting switches from afar, clearing obstacles, but yeah, you can also chuck random objects at enemies if you really want. Personally, I use it only to grab medikits and armor that were otherwise unreachable. Weapon switching is finally not a pain in the ass either. Now you actually see what you're selecting instead of blindly scrolling through your entire inventory mid-fight. I only have 2 small issues here. Sometimes the game throws way too many weapons at you. In the train level especially, I felt like getting a new gun every 2 minutes or so. And in levels that are split into 2 parts, you lose all your gear at the start of the second half. I get why this is, it never set me back too much, but it still feels a bit weird. Like I said before, the levels always have something going on. Cortez is constantly talking to his partners and his assistant, but not like in an annoying high-on-life way. Stuff to do includes blowing up gates or a tank with explosives, sneaking around sometimes, thank god it's optional this time, covering your teammates using a mounted gun or a sniper rifle, defusing bombs, hacking systems with minigames. By the way, you can use some of the terminals or computers, you can read emails and listen to audio logs. Totally optional, but you can actually free the prisoner in the island level, and there are vehicle sections too. Tanks, AA guns, laser cannons, and even a giant mech. Of course, here the emulator gets a bit finicky again. While most turret sections work with the mouse, vehicle controls default only to keyboard. You can tweak it so everything uses mouse aiming, but then your normal on-foot aiming feels off. So what I did was I set up 2 control profiles and just switched between them whenever a vehicle section came up. Honestly, it took me like 3 seconds, not a big deal. There are of course mini-bosses and proper end-level boss fights too. They're not super difficult, but they're definitely more fun than the ones in the second game. What really blew me away though is the overall vibe. This game has serious no one lives forever energy, tons of funny dialogues, goofy moments, and cutscenes honestly worth watching.
I don't know. But if we find him, we find the crystals.
But we have no way of knowing where he jumped to.
Would this help?
Well, if I took a scan of the photo, I could identify the surrounding landscape with our topographical database. Then, if I triangulated the distances and heights of the buildings, then cross-reference that data with the architectural styles, I might be able to deduce some probable locations.
How about Stanislav Train Depot, September 4th, 1969?
What?
It's on the back of the photo.
It's not fair. The girls get much nicer uniforms than we do.
You want to wear the girls' uniforms?
Yes, I think they give good freedom of movement, and they must be nice and cool in summer.
Oh man, you're weird. Why are you telling me this?
I think you will understand. I have watched you a lot. I think you are not like the others. I think we could become special friends.
Hey, gorgeous. Haven't seen you in Sector 1 before.
Yes, I have been transferred here from Sector 4.
Well, you must have really screwed up big to get sent down here with the rest of us deadbeats. Well, I'm glad you did.
On most levels there's a drunken idiot rambling nonsense, our robot buddy gets infected with a virus and starts talking like a cowboy, for some reason you get to control Callus's mechanical cat, and there's this lab level where you can mess with computers to absolutely ruin a zombie or a scientist in every possible way. You can burn them, electrocute them, stretch them, flatten them, inflate their heads, mix and match however you want. Yes, it's ridiculous. Yes, it's totally optional and totally unnecessary, but it's fucking awesome. Oh, and there's the main gimmick. On some levels, Cortez meets his future self who helps him out, and later you jump back and replay those moments as the previous or future version. Yeah, it sounds confusing, but it's actually really cool and makes sense. You've got moments where you first drive a tank, then later you take control of the tank's AA gun, or in a mine where one version of you handles zombies while the other focuses on invisible ghosts. Later at one point there are literally 4 Cortezes running around, and yeah, you'll even revisit the very first level for a bit as well. I don't think it needs more proof, the story mode here is legit amazing. I've replayed it multiple times already and I would happily jump back in any time. And of course you've still got the arcade mode, capture the bag, and a ridiculous amount of challenges. Some of them are kind of bizarre, like racing with Callus's cat, those old school grab and run missions, basketball with the gravity gun, turret defense, target shooting, smashing windows with bricks and the like. As usual, content-wise this game delivers as well, but thank fuck this time the story mode isn't simply an option, it's the actual definitive reason to play. Visually, the game still looks great, I dare say even in the GameCube version. Sound design, voice acting, music, all on point. If you played it on console, you're probably fine with the controls, but with this keyboard and mouse setup, aiming feels almost perfect, and the cherry on top, with lossless scaling you can basically double your frame rate for free, so honestly, this might be the best way to play this game. As for the future of TimeSplitters, 2 of the original devs started working on TimeSplitters Next in 2022 using Unreal Engine 5, and yeah, it looked like a Fortnite knockoff, but it was no accident. Apparently, that was just a clever trick to get funding, and the plan was to turn it into a proper FPS later. This temporarily resurrected Free Radical design, but sadly this didn't matter as the parent company pulled the plug, so everything got scrapped, and the main guys had no choice but to walk away. Of course, now there's also TimeSplitters Rewind, which aims to remaster all 3 games over time, but since it's a fan project, it will probably take ages to even reach Future Perfect. And honestly, a remaster of this would feel like remastering No One Lives Forever, something I genuinely hope never happens. Sure, you can upgrade the graphics, fix the controls, quality of life improvements, but you're never going to recreate this exact style and atmosphere, not with these modern visuals, no way. Anyways, if you're even remotely interested in the series, give Future Perfect a shot. If you've got insane patience, maybe try the second game before that, but if you have to choose only one of them, make it Future Perfect. You have been warned.